Dean Ed Iacobucci to provide us with some welcoming remarks.
Thanks, Judith. When you said wonderful Dean, I was looking over my shoulder, so I was glad you followed it up with Dean Ed Iacobucci, so I knew it was me. So graduates, family, friends, thank you for being here. It's not often that I'm asked to give remarks to the same set of people 2 times in close proximity to one another. It's my intuition that in circumstances like these, I should probably be brief. But let me just say, it's really a pleasure to be associated with the Faculty of Law, especially because of the students. I mean, the students are incredibly accomplished in such a wide range of areas. Very smart, obviously, passionate about what they do. Do not leave careless thinking unchallenged. And so for we professors, it's both a privilege and a bit daunting to be in the classroom with you. It's not straightforward, but it's an incredibly fun, energizing, and gratifying experience to be your teachers. To put the quality of this graduating class into perspective, let me offer a very simple kind of logical syllogism for you. So the students at the Faculty of Law, University of Toronto, are the best collection of law students at any law school in the country. There's no contest. No contest. This graduating class, as Ben Allery and Jerome would tell you, this graduating class is also the best class we've ever had graduate from the Faculty of Law at the University of Toronto. You put those 2 premises together and you end up with the conclusion that this is the best graduating law school class in Canadian history. That's true. That's actually true. I would probably say it if it weren't true, but it's actually true. So you've contributed to the life of the faculty in innumerable ways, as I mentioned at the ceremony. Your excellence in the classroom, obviously, but your contributions to governance of the faculty, your mooting accomplishments, your contributions to the life of the community through your advocacy in various different dimensions is really exciting to be around. We're not overjoyed at seeing you move on from us. It's bittersweet for us, but we're extremely excited to see what you will achieve. Now, to parents, to partners, and to friends, I'm going to repeat what I said at the ceremony and others said at the ceremony because it cannot be said too often. I hope you share in the pride that your graduates are feeling today. My spouse and I, we have 2 daughters who are in middle school. And I can't tell you how proud we would be to be sitting in your shoes someday, to have our children get into a program like this and thrive in it, as the people here have done. Your support has also, of course, been, yes. Your support has been crucial to the success of our students and really, therefore, crucial to the success of this faculty. So thank you for being here, and thank you for all you've done for your friends, partners, children. So something else I said at the Convocation ceremony I want to bring up now, and that is I said how interesting our alumni are. And they really, it's been a real pleasure in this job these first few months to meet so many fascinating people in such a wide range of fields. Well, it's now my pleasure to introduce Exhibit A in this incredible pantheon of graduates that we have. I will use the adjective formidable. Justice Gloria Epstein of the Court of Appeal is going to address the graduating class. But before she does, just let me say a few things about her. On an immediate way, she's influenced the life of the law school by being a fantastically energetic, passionate president of the Law Alumni Association, something I encourage all of you to think about getting involved with over time. She's unfortunately a past president of the association, but has really left her mark on it. But before that, well before that, she blazed a trail from quite humble beginnings to end up at Queen's University Business School. She graduated near the top of her class and did something that I would say it wouldn't have been true then and probably isn't true now to say that what she did was not exactly a cliche. What she did was, upon graduation, she decided to buy a fishing camp in Northern Ontario and to run that as her business. So she spent a couple of years running a fishing camp. Realized sort of some of the virtues of hard work in running that camp, but maybe also realized that maybe life could offer different things. After those couple of years, she came, fortunately for us, she came to the Faculty of Law at the University of Toronto, graduated from our school in 1977, practiced for many years, opened her own firm at one point, and then joined the bench in 1993. She was appointed to the Ontario Court of Appeal in 2007 and is known both for her acute legal mind and also a very sharp and eloquent pen. As those, and we've been lucky enough to impose on Justice Epstein on several occasions, have her come back to speak to students in different fora, and as those of you who had the opportunity to spend time with her know, she's passionate about the role of law in building a better society and has never lost sight of its fundamental importance to human flourishing. So we're incredibly proud that she is our alum and are very fortunate that she's here to speak with us today. So, Justice Epstein.
So I chose my shoes this morning, not realizing I'd be walking around in grass. But I have made it up here. No promises for making it back to the table. Distinguished guests, supportive, relieved, maybe somewhat surprised family and friends. And of course, the most important group here, the accomplished, academically gifted, socially conscious, hardworking, and of course, tremendously good-looking class of 2015. I saw each and every one of you walk up. I was right behind the Chancellor, and I know how good-looking you are. On behalf of over 9,000 alumni of the Faculty of Law at the University of Toronto, welcome to our ranks. You are leaving an exceptional place of learning. The strength of the faculty and student body, the range of extracurricular activities, the intellectual rigor, the connection to the leaders of the bench and bar, not just in Canada, but around the world, is astonishing. And you've been part of this school at a time of transition. I speak, of course, about our irrepressible new dean and of the amazing edifice that was literally being built around you. We thank you for your support, your patience, your cooperation at this important time in the history of U of T Law. I was asked to speak, and I didn't think I actually stewed about what to say. So I went to two experts, two of my children who are graduates of U of T Law. The advice I received, two things: keep it short, and it doesn't matter what you say. Don't you love kids? I mean, really. So I thought, I was going to talk about why I chose U of T Law. But as the Dean just said, the trip from owning and running a fishing camp in Northern Ontario to U of T Law, well, it's just not that easy to explain. So I decided to talk about the gift you now have. The gift of being a graduate of this great school. My message is to urge upon you, every once in a while, to stop and think. Stop and think about this gift and the responsibility that comes with it. The gift will allow you to go on to do great things. Selfishly, I hope many of you join the private practice of law in Toronto. But for many of you, your talents and ambitions will not be limited to one city, one profession, even one career. It's almost, brace yourself, it's almost 40 years since I sat where you're sitting. And the breadth of activity of my colleagues, the class of 77, is really quite amazing. We've got one former Premier of Ontario, 7 judges, one Canadian ambassador, leading litigators, corporate leaders, community workers, and we've got graduates who are living and working in at least 7 different countries. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter what line of work you pursue or where this incredible degree you now have takes you. Central to whatever you do and wherever you do it is that you put this degree from this school to good use. Not just to earn a living and practice your profession, but to have an impact on the broader community. Those 3 things, putting your degree to use, earning a living, and having an impact on the broader community, reminds me of a story that I'm stealing from my former dean, the other Iacobucci. There is another Iacobucci, right? And Ed Iacobucci. And this is his story, and I've told it many times because I just think it's so powerful. The story takes place over 100 years ago in Italy, of course. A stranger was walking by a construction site, and he saw 3 stone cutters. And he stopped and he said to the first stonemason, he said, "So, what are you doing there?" He says, "Sir, I'm cutting stone." He said to the second, "What are you doing there?" And he said, "Sir, I'm earning 10 lira an hour." The third one, when asked the question, said, "Sir, I'm building a great edifice." The point is to be aware of the larger canvas of the noble calling of law. Not just are you drafting a factum or doing some research or a contract for somebody, not just what you're taking home to earn a living and pay your expenses and raise your family, but the kind of contribution you are making to the noble calling of law. Be aware of the ideals that brought you to this profession's door, a profession that stands for a set of values around which the public wraps its trust. Not a day goes by, not one single day goes by, that I haven't felt proud to be a graduate from this school and to be a member of this great profession. Because not one day goes by when justice doesn't matter. Now, justice is not always about the legal profession, but it is always about the values this profession has a duty to represent, promote, and protect. Values such as decency, open-mindedness, tolerance, and compassion. So whatever motivates you one day to the next to stop and think about how fortunate you are to be a U of T law grad, in that moment, be mindful of the opportunity you have and be prepared to assume the responsibility that comes with having the public trust. Leave this place ready to face the next part of your journey, whatever it is and wherever it takes you, with enthusiasm and with courage. Just know this. Dean made reference to the Law Alumni Association, and this is really important. Know this, that your alumni will always be ready there for you, for mentoring, guidance, support, encouragement, and yes, for opportunity. In return, the alumni of this faculty have only 2 requests for you. 1, whatever you choose to do and wherever you end up, do what you do at the highest level of integrity and professionalism. 2nd, give back to this wonderful school. Give your time, give your leadership, your mentorship, your energy, your gifts. So now go. As part of the team that builds on the strength of U of T law, so that about 40 years from now, when one of you is standing here, I can assure you it's unlikely I'll be gathering with you, but 40 years from now, when one of you is up here celebrating the class of, say, around 2055, I can barely say it, that class can tell about the incredible progress that has been made in the last 4 decades, thanks to the contribution of all of you. Congratulations, celebrate, and good luck to you all.
So the next order of business is for me to first of all, thank Justice Epstein for an incredibly inspirational set of remarks, unsurprisingly. So thank you, Justice Epstein. But the next order of business is to present the Mewitt Teaching Award. So the Mewitt Teaching Award was established by the SLS, by the Student Law Society, to recognize Alan Mewitt, who was a wonderful man. He taught me evidence. He taught many of the people on the faculty evidence in criminal. He was a wonderful teacher. He joined the faculty in 1968, was an inspiration to many over the decades that he spent with us. He was a credible contributor to thinking and analysis of criminal law in Canada, and was also known to be one of the finest teachers that the law schools ever had. So it was incredibly a suitable honor in his memory when he passed away all too soon at the age of 70 in 2001, that the students established a teaching award in his name. So I will call on Natalie Lumtai to come forward to present the Mewitt Teaching Award. So Natalie, you were there.
Thank you, Dean Iacobucci. It is my pleasure to present the Alan Mewitt Teaching Award to Professors Tony Duggan and Martha Schaefer on behalf of the class of 2015. It goes without saying that these individuals are extraordinary academics, but it is the dream of every law student to learn from a brilliant scholar that is equally enthusiastic and passionate about teaching as they are about their research. Professor Duggan's classes are regularly oversubscribed, which would be an impressive feat for anyone, never mind for someone who teaches trusts and secure transactions, two very complicated subjects. Professor Schaefer's evidence class has been called, beyond a reasonable doubt, the best class, and her lectures a bright spot in the day in student reviews. Not only do these professors excel at teaching, but they also make an effort to connect with students beyond the classroom. You may remember Professor Duggan from such hits as Teach Me How to Duggan and short film Acting Dean Duggan. Off camera, Professor Schaefer has taken an interest in student life, participating in our common endeavor to foster a diverse, accessible, and thoughtful community here at U of T. Now, whether their teaching style is flamboyant, I will leave to you, the class of 2015. But one thing is certain. Professors Duggan and Schaefer exemplify the spirit of this teaching award, and we are grateful to have had the opportunity to learn in their classrooms. Please join me in the honor, and indeed in thanking Professors Duggan and Schaefer for all of their support during this chapter of our professional careers, and for preparing us for the next one.
Okay, so Martha and I agreed that I'd do the talking, which sounds entirely appropriate. So I guess I'm here partly for trusts, and Professor Schaefer is here at least partly for evidence. And that juxtaposition of courses kind of resonates for me, because trusts was by far the best taught course that I took in law school, and evidence was the worst. The prof that taught trusts was famous and well loved throughout Australia, both as a trusts expert and a corporate law expert. And I remember standing with him at a major Australian law conference, and he'd just given a keynote address on directors' duties. It was morning tea straight afterwards, and we started talking. Within 30 seconds, people started streaming up to him, one after another. Senior barristers, partners in major law firms, people from government, saying, "Oh, Professor Ford, you taught me trusts back in 1965, or you taught me company law in 1972, and I still remember everything you said, and I still have your notes." And I was standing there beside him, watching him and thinking, what an incredible tribute. And I think it was that moment that I decided that I wanted a full-time, lifetime career in teaching. And so that's predominantly why I'm here today. Evidence I can say less about, right? So it was taught to us as a set of disconnected rules, subject to a set of even more disconnected exceptions, which we were supposed to learn by rote. No overarching theme, no underlying principle. And so it seems to me that you, class of 2015, and your predecessors and your successors are incredibly lucky and having a gifted teacher like Professor Schaefer to teach the course properly and in an inspirational way. Thank you. Oh, so there is one more thing. Professor Schaefer and I are incredibly competitive, as it turns out, and we abhor a tie. So we've decided what we're going to do is arm wrestle for this award, and it's winner takes all. Now this is going to be a pushover for me, because she confided to me coming back out of the procession that she has carpal tunnel syndrome in her right arm. I would have beaten her anyway, but with this is just going to be so easy. So sorry, but yeah, let's get.
We're gonna go.
Let's get to it. Damn.
And I'll just add one quick word, which is to say that there are lots and lots of good things about the Faculty of Law here at U of T. But truly, the best by far is you guys, it's the students. And it's a true privilege to be able to work with students, to be able to get to know students. So I want to wish all of you, the class of 2015, and your parents and your friends and all your loved ones, congratulations. All the best.
Thank you. I would have liked to have seen Ben and Martha share the award just to see what would happen in that arm wrestle. My money's still on Martha. It's now my privilege and honor to introduce this year's valedictorian, Marita Zouvralioff. These funny last names, you and I can relate. Marita is from Toronto, but she will be articling in Calgary. While she was here, she really left her mark not only on the academic life, but on the community. She volunteered at DLS and tenant housing. She was involved with Law Help Ontario's walk-in center for self-represented litigants. She co-chaired fundraisers for the Barbara Schleifer Clinic, which serves women who've experienced violence, and she volunteered at the center as well. She was an editor for the Ultravirus, the school's newspaper, and she was, and I can say this from having sat in the audience, an incredible contributor to Law Follies over her time here as well. Hilarious, actually. She also was involved in moot competition. So it's really an incredible array of activities that you did here, and it's wonderful to see you elected valedictorian. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dean Iacobucci. Good afternoon, everyone. Congratulations, class of 2015. You just graduated from law school. Doesn't it feel good? Yeah. I was going to suggest that we all call ourselves Esquires now, but Dean Iacobucci actually informed me that the term is no longer cool. No. So he suggested we use the term rainmakers instead. So that's actually what you'll find is written in Latin on all of our diplomas, so thanks for that. As Justice Epstein said, you all look stunningly beautiful. Of course, the last time some of us saw one another was at the haggard end of the exam period, so it might just be a relative thing. Regardless, you all clean up tremendously well. A warm welcome goes out to our families and friends. It means so much to have you here to share on this day. As tokens of our gratitude, please find under your seats vouchers for 1 hour of free legal advice from your respective graduate. To be clear, anything above that is a billable hour. And welcome also to the faculty and the staff in attendance. Thank you for coming as well. Now, underneath your seats, you'll find a stack of IOUs for $90,000 from each member of the graduating class. Go ahead and add it up. Every cent is accounted for. You're welcome. It really is so wonderful to be all together today. Thank you to everyone for attending, particularly to our classmates and our guests who made it from out of town. This day is really about a shared triumph, a triumph over the tyranny of Netflix. We stopped streaming at least long enough to get law degrees, and this is no small feat, ladies and gentlemen. A double congratulations goes out to the dual degree people here. As someone who's receiving a Juris Doctor Simpliciter, I am very impressed by all of you. Fellow classmates, we started from the bottom and now we are here. Sometimes I think we take for granted the learning and the growing we've done since September of first year. It was at that time that I wrote down a list of law school goals I wish to achieve. I have to admit, some of the goals went unfulfilled, such as publishing a paper, oops, or learning to drink scotch, which I sadly still hate. But as I'm sure like most of you, there were other achievements that I couldn't have possibly anticipated. We had a very vague idea of what was in store for us or what we ourselves had the ability to accomplish. Do you remember what it was like being a 1L? Simpler time, back when a tort was just a quasi-delicious dessert and business organizations didn't sound like an oxymoron. I remember in 1L being absolutely scandalized when we learned in criminal law that provocation is a partial defense to murder. Like, murder. However, after 3 years of dealing with our exam software, I can see it. We're a very unique class. We were the last to start our legal education in the old Flavel building before construction began, as well as the last cohort to endure a staggering 7 classes in our first year. Well, we succeeded, defeating the odds and crushing the dreaded administrative law in the process. After this resounding triumph, they evicted us and changed the curriculum. But that didn't stop us. No. Our little community continued to thrive across the street on the Vic College campus. We had an unbelievable Students' Law Society that worked tirelessly for us. We were very lucky to have had such dynamic and selfless people running the show. Thanks, team. We have a lot of things to be proud of. Our mooting results this past year were some of the best in this faculty's history. With 10 first-place wins, it's safe to say that U of T swept the competition at home and abroad. Sure, other schools complain about us winning everything. I wasn't actually going anywhere with that. That's just a fact. Our pub nights were legendary. We essentially closed down 2 popular Toronto bars with our vigorous dancing. This was another one of those law school achievements that I could have never anticipated in September of first year. Rec Room and Andy Pool Hall, this diploma's for you. We created clubs together, we went on trips together, we fundraised together for causes as diverse as the marks listed on my transcript. We raised the profile of UV, our local paper, making it the nation's most respected news source. We were peer mentors to other classes, to aspiring law students, to high schoolers, and to one another. The propensity of our classmates to help others out is something that always stood out to me. It made me very proud to be a U of T-er. We have an incredibly strong sense of community, as well as an unspoken commitment to help each other out that made every day at school easier and more enjoyable. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marita. I have to admit, I always wondered what happened to the Andy Pool Hall. Now I know. It's now my pleasure to introduce several awards recognizing the top academic achievers in our graduating class. And now that you know that you are the best graduating class in Canadian history, you can just imagine how remarkable these students' achievements are. The first award is the Angus McMurtry Gold Medal. It's a gift of the friends of the late Angus McMurtry, who was a former governor of the university. We're also fortunate to have the Gallant Ho Prize, named for Mr. Gallant Ho, the founder and owner of a leading law firm in Hong Kong and a generous supporter of the university. Both the gold medal and the Gallant Ho Prize are awarded to the student in the graduating year with the highest cumulative average while at law school. This year's gold medal and Gallant Ho Prize go to Caitlin Owens. Caitlin, we're hoping you... Yeah, there actually is a medal, as the Dean Yakabuchi says. So is Caitlin here? I know she was here this morning. No? Okay.
Thank you.
So there actually is a medal or flowers or something else that we give you when you win these awards. So we would like you to come up when your name is called. The next medal is the WPM Kennedy Silver Medal, and it honors WPM Kennedy, who was Dean of the School of Law from 1944 to 1949. And it's awarded to the student in the graduating class with the second highest cumulative average while at law school. This year we had the unusual situation of an exact tie. So we have two silver medalists, Drew Beasley and Taylor Dickinson. Oops. Thank
you. Over here, folks. Thank you.
The James B. Milner Bronze Medal, named, not surprisingly, for James B. Milner, who was a professor at the Faculty of Law from 1950 to 1969, is awarded to the student in the graduating class with the third highest cumulative average while at law school. This year's bronze medal is awarded to Samantha Greer. Next are the Schwartz Medals. The Gerald W. Schwartz Medals and accompanying prizes were endowed in honor of Gerald W. Schwartz by friends Ann Wilson and Robert Pritchard in recognition of Gerald Schwartz's 9 years of distinguished service as a governor of the University of Toronto. They are awarded annually to students in the graduating class achieving the highest cumulative averages over 4 years in the combined JD MBA program. This year's gold medal for the student with the highest cumulative average in the JD MBA program is awarded to Sean Dogra. This this year's Schwartz Silver Medal for the student with the second highest cumulative average in the JD MBA program is awarded to Sarah Macchioni. This year's bronze medal for the student with the third highest cumulative average in the JD MBA program is awarded to Riley Harmon. Now for the third year awards. The Justice Michael J. Moldaver Prize, gifted the Honorable Mr. Justice Michael Moldaver, is awarded annually to the student standing first in the third year class. This year's Moldaver Prize is awarded to Drew Beasley, who will have to come back up and make a return appearance here. The Class of 1967 Prize, a gift to the members of the Class of 1967, is awarded to the student standing second in the third year class. The prize for standing second in third year is awarded to Manish Oza. That's right. The Class of 1967 Prize for the student standing third in the third year class is awarded to Taylor Dickinson for another repeat appearance. And this one's all yours. Nobody else is getting it. Next are the mooting prizes. The Stephanie Fleur Cousin Medal for Mooting was established in memory of Stephanie Fleur Cousin, class of 2009, through the generous support of her family, the firm of Lenzner Slatt, and many friends and colleagues. Stephanie was an outstanding mooter and competed in the Grand Moot while in law school. The medal is awarded annually to a student who has demonstrated outstanding performance in the mooting program and a strong commitment as both a participant and a coach. Now, you've already heard several times about our spectacular mooting results this year. It's usually difficult to choose students from our field of dedicated, energetic, articulate, and committed students, even more so this year. So this year's Stephanie Fleur Cousin Medal goes to two students, Lauren Harper and Christoph Shamus. Among other things, their tireless work on the Grand Moot, the Moot tryouts, their coaching of 3 competitive mooting teams, all 3 of which took first place, and many other achievements and activities in the area of mooting. So congratulations, Lauren Harper and Christoph Shamus. We'll now present the John Willis Award and the Gina Caldarelli Memorial Prize for School Spirit. The John Willis Award, named in honor of John Willis, a professor at the Faculty of Law from 1949 to 1972, is presented annually by the students at the Faculty of Law to the third-year student who has best displayed ingenuity, humor, and enthusiasm, both in the study of law and in the extracurricular life of the law school. The Gina Caldarelli Memorial Prize for School Spirit was established in memory of Gina Caldarelli, who was a member of the class of 1997 at the faculty. This prize recognizes a JD student who has made a substantial and meaningful contribution to the law school and who has best demonstrated interest in the well-being of his or her fellow students. I'm going to ask Lauren Harper, the outgoing SLS Vice President of Social Affairs, to come back up again to present the Willis and Caldarelli Awards. There she is.
Hello, everyone. Traditionally, the Willis Award for Leadership and the Caldarelli Award for School Spirit are handed out by the SLS president. However, it is my pleasure to announce that this year's recipient of both awards is our outgoing SLS president, Natalie Lumtai. It is difficult to briefly summarize the impact that Natalie has had on the law school over the past 3 years. As an SLS representative in her first 2 years and SLS president in her final year of law school, Natalie advocated for the student body as a member of multiple student and faculty committees, including admissions, standing curriculum, and mooting and advocacy, as well as chairing the Student Affairs Committee. Natalie also dedicated her time to creating a social atmosphere at the law school. She planned pub nights, law ball, and even planned an event right up until tonight for all of us after graduation. In addition to her role on the SLS, Natalie volunteered with Pro Bono Students Canada, sat on the Dean Selection Committee, tutored first-year students, and worked as a student ambassador with the Recruitment and Diversity Office. Over these past years, Natalie has worked tirelessly with other students, with the administration, and with the faculty to continually improve the academic and social atmosphere at the law school. In all of these endeavors I mentioned, and more, Natalie demonstrated that she is truly a dedicated, caring, and outstanding leader. On behalf of the SLS and the class of 2015, I am pleased to announce that Natalie will be receiving the Willis and Caldarelli Awards.
Cressy Leadership Awards recognize students who have made an outstanding curricular contribution to the Faculty of Law or to the university as a whole. This year, we're delighted to say that 5 of our students received Cressy Awards, and they are Lauren Harper, Natalie Lumtai, Amy Tang, Billy Won, and Nicole Sylvester. So while these students make their way up to the front here, I'm going to tell you about some of the extraordinary contributions they've made to the law school and the broader community. Lauren Harper served as the 2L representative on the Student Law Society, and then, as you've heard, Vice President Social Affairs on the Student Law Society. She was very dedicated to creating an inclusive community on campus, served as the event coordinator for the Faculty of Law's Orientation Week, no small feat, and organized several ongoing event series, including the notorious SLS coffee houses and law ball, as well as working mightily to ensure that SLS events were accessible. Billy Won is another very active contributor to the law school community. He was treasurer of SLS and served as an elected 3L representative on the Student Affairs and Governance Committee. He was also the leader of the External Relations Group and the Faculty of Law's representative on the University of Toronto Student Union's Board of Directors, and was the Law Faculty's representative on the Ontario Bar Association's Student Division Executive as well. Last summer, he was a Donner Fellow at the Metro Toronto Chinese and Southeast Asian Legal Clinic, where he helped low-income clients from marginalized and disadvantaged groups with their legal issues. Amy Tang made her mark in international human rights, where she served as a clinic student with the International Human Rights Program, working on a number of projects advocating for the protection of refugee health care and civil liberties. Amy was also co-editor of the IHRP Rights Review and a student leader of an IHRP working group on mapping global health rights. You've already heard a bit about Natalie Lum-Tai, but I'd like to add, having had the pleasure of working with her this year as well, that she's a student leader who's made outstanding contributions to almost every key area in the life of the law school. In fact, I'm surprised that she managed to graduate with all the things that she's done. She served, of course, as a representative, later president of the SLS, but she also worked on initiatives in the areas of mental health, environmental sustainability, academic support, financial aid, curricular reform, admissions, career services, alumni relations, as well as serving on our decanal search committee. For Nicole Sylvester, I'm going to ask Promise Holmes Skinner, who has been our Aboriginal Law Program Coordinator this year, while Lisa Dolcol was on secondment, to come up to the podium to do a special presentation.
Thank you, Judith. This will be brief, I promise. That was a joke about my own name. Delay reaction, that's okay. And Nicole Sylvester has made significant contributions to the law student community. For 2 years, she served as the Aboriginal Law Students Association president, and she also was the president for 1 year of the Aboriginal Law Club in its second year. Nicole, sorry, I lost my spot, but I still know that she does good things. Nicole also volunteered as a team leader for the Aboriginal Youth Justice program. She participated in the Aboriginal Moot this year. She served as a student caseworker at Aboriginal Legal Services of Toronto, and she also worked at the Human Rights Legal Support Center. Nicole is an excellent example of how being involved in your community can help you to reconnect with your roots, and it has been a great pleasure to have her involved in the law school over the last 3 years.
We're very proud of all these remarkable students and grateful for the contributions that they made to the law school community.
So we're coming, I think, to the final award of the event today, and it's the final award. You may have seen the recipient before. The Dean Cecil A. Wright Key is named after the first dean of the modern law school, who is really a giant in legal education in this country, who really was the force behind the move out of the profession and into the university of legal education in this country, certainly in this province, and really transformed education, transformed the profession, and certainly transformed the University of Toronto. The Dean's Key is presented to the student who has displayed the greatest interest in extracurricular work of an academic nature. As we've heard, Natalie Lum-Tai was interested in extracurricular work of all natures, including academic nature, and I'm very pleased to award this year's Dean's Key to Natalie. So Natalie, please take it. So finally, we will hear from somebody you've heard from already, though I trust with fewer feats of strength this time. I'm very pleased to announce that the Hail and I'll try that again. I am pleased to announce, I just can't announce, the Hail and Farewell speaker elected by the students, Tony Duggan. So Tony, please come up.
Thanks, Ed, and thank you sincerely to the class of 2015 for asking me to give this address. I'm deeply honoured. So there's an old episode of Modern Family where Alex has chosen to give the valedictory speech at her high school graduation, and she's planning something pretty highbrow, but her sister Hayley tells her not to be too serious. No one wants a serious graduation speech, Hayley says. Graduations are supposed to celebrate the end of thinking. Well, so here you are at the end of your own graduation, and let me be the first to congratulate you on never having to think again. Actually, quite a lot of students get to the end of thinking long before the point of graduation. And here's what one history student wrote on a final exam, and this is apparently taken straight off the examination script. It was an age of great inventions and discoveries. Gutenberg invented removable type and the Bible. Another important invention was the circulation of blood. And Sir Francis Drake circumcised the globe. Sir Francis Drake circumcised the globe with a 100-foot clipper. So I could go on in this vein endlessly, but let me give you just one more. The greatest writer of the Renaissance was William Shakespeare. He was born in the year 1564, supposedly on his birthday. He wrote tragedies, comedies and hysterectomies, all in Islamic pentameter. Romeo and Juliet are an example of a heroic couplet. Romeo's last wish was to be laid by Juliet. But I know these examples of brainlessness don't apply to any of you. All of you have been thinking really hard for the last 3 years. For example, you thought collectively really hard about what to call the Dean's morning coffee sessions, and you came up with the brilliant idea of Iacobucci's fiduciary snack duty. And that struck me as being so much classier than Mayo's muffin madness, or for that matter, Duggan's donut delirium. Speaking of Iacobucci's fiduciary snack duty, the Dean has just discovered a new gourmet bakery, and they'll be supplying next year's fiduciary snacks. So there are going to be 3 kinds of fiduciary snack: express crusts, resulting crusts, and constructive crusts. Let me tell you a little bit more about each of the offerings. Right? An express crust is a takeout snack. Grab it and go. So that means you don't have to hang around talking to the Dean while you eat it. There are 2 kinds of resulting crust. There's the voluntary transfer resulting crust and the purchase money resulting crust. Voluntary transfer resulting crusts are day-old snacks that the Dean gives away for nothing. And purchase money resulting crusts are fresh snacks, and unfortunately you have to pay for them. Lastly, a constructive crust. Constructive crust really isn't a snack at all. This is when the delivery guy doesn't turn up, and the Dean deems everyone to have had a snack. So if you didn't get that, you didn't take trusts. And if you didn't take trusts, you don't deserve to have got it. They have no sympathy. Okay, enough levity, down to business. I'd like to pick up where Lorne Sossin left off, or I should say, give him his proper title, former Associate Dean Sossin. I'd like to pick up where Lorne Sossin left off in his Hail and Farewell address a few years ago, with a short discourse on the origins of the expression Hail and Farewell. The phrase has a heroic ring to it, and as Professor Sossin told us, it triggers images of a Roman general standing in front of his troops. And I think that was how Professor Sossin liked to see himself when he was standing where I am today. Well, as it happens, the phrase does have Roman origins, but the connections are funereal, not military. It's a translation from the Latin ave atque vale, or if I was a proper classic scholar, I'd pronounce the V as a W, so it would come out ave atque vale, but I'm too self-conscious to do that. Anyway, it's the last line of a funeral lament written by the Roman poet Catullus around 57 BC. Catullus' brother had died suddenly in the provinces, and Catullus missed the funeral. So the poem is one of three that Catullus wrote as a way of coming to grips with his brother's death and also not being at his bedside when he died. So let me read you the poem. The scene is this. Catullus has travelled from Rome to visit his brother's grave. He's brought offerings that he'll lay on the grave. But before he does, he speaks these words, and this is the poem. Through many countries and over many seas I have come, brother, to these melancholy rites, to show this final honour to the dead, and speak to what purpose to your silent ashes, since fate now takes you, even you, from me. O brother, ripped away from me so cruelly, now at least take these offerings, blessed by the tradition of our parents, gifts to the dead. Accept by custom what a brother's tears drown, and for eternity, brother, hail and farewell. Well, that's put a bit of a dampener on things, hasn't it? But we were humming along quite nicely up until then, and I seem to have wrecked the mood. Let's see what I can do to put things back where they were. So, pretty clearly, the name of this address, Hail and Farewell, has been taken out of context. Right? I don't think my job today is to bury you. Actually, I think what I'm supposed to do is the opposite. Not to mourn death, but to celebrate life. So when we say farewell to, when we say hail and farewell to our graduating class, what is it that we really mean? In a sense, I suppose we mean hello and goodbye, and that would be, I guess, a reasonably literal translation. But that doesn't capture the spirit either. Hello and goodbye suggests a fleet. So what have you achieved, and why are we saluting you? Well, the obvious answer is that you've achieved a law degree from the University of Toronto, and that's no mean feat. Okay? But you were all achievers even before you got to law school, otherwise you wouldn't have been here in the first place. All of you have outstanding undergraduate qualifications. Some of you have graduate degrees. Some of you have worked in other careers before coming to law school. Nearly all of you have done one or more of the following. Worked in great and not so great summer jobs, served out summer clerkships, done volunteer work, been to Australia, been on exchange programs other than to Australia, worked on important research projects, or worked on not so important research projects. Some of you have even read a secured transactions case from beginning to end. Some of you are singers or musicians. Some of you play football. Some of you climb mountains. Some of you dabble in politics. Some of you are actors or stand-up comedians. Some of you are film buffs or animal lovers or computer geeks. I know all this stuff because one of my first jobs when I came to this law school 15 years ago was on the admissions committee, so I got to read all the files, and I found that to be quite a daunting experience. So much so that for my first few classes I had to suppress this knowledge, otherwise I don't think I'd have been able to get the words out. Anyway, so that's a snapshot of what you've achieved already, and it's what we salute you for. What more will you achieve, and what do we look forward to for you? Well, the answer to that is anything and everything. The wonderful thing about a law degree is that it can take you nearly anywhere you want to go. For starters, a law degree is useful if you want to practice law. But you can use it for all sorts of other things as well. You can go into management with a law degree. You can become a teacher. You can work for social change. You can become Prime Minister of Canada. You can make other people's lives better, or you can make them worse. If you're a lawyer, you stand a better chance than almost anyone of getting your money back from the dodgy travel agency or challenging your Hydro One bill. If you're a lawyer and you live in a condo or belong to a tennis club or do charity work, chances are that sooner or later you'll find yourself on the board and probably running the show. Why? Because the skills you have as a lawyer equip you better than any other discipline I can think of to manage conflict, structure arguments, assimilate information, and stand up to authority. It's no accident that lawyers are disproportionately represented in positions of influence almost everywhere around the world. Some people might not think that's such a good idea, but all of us here today know better. In any event, this is a hint of what your future holds. An enviably wide choice of careers, the strong prospect of success and happiness in whatever career you choose, and last but by no means least, the lifelong presidency of your condo board. So these are the things we wish for you when we say goodbye and good luck, or hail and farewell. Awe, atque, wale.
Thank you, Tony, for providing us with a wonderful close to our program. Just a reminder that your class composites are straight back there, so don't forget to pick them up on the way out. And on behalf of the law school, I'd like to thank you all for joining us and to extend our warm congratulations once again to our amazing graduating class. Thank you for sharing this beautiful day with us.